Hello, I hope you guys are having a wonderful school year. I wanted to talk about something that many of us desire so strongly in our hearts to see for our children, and that is lifelong learning skills. We want them to be grown-ups and continue learning and reading books and, learning from experiences and all the things. So how on earth as a parent, especially for the little bitties, elementary school age, but also for the middle schoolers, and for the high schoolers, because once again, we're always learning, we want to establish some tools in their life to allow them to become lifelong learners. So I have compiled 6 of them. The first one that I want to tap into is this idea of creativity. We want our children to be creative. We want to foster that creativity, and we also want to help them and give them the tools to explore their creativity. We want to model creativity. So there's lots of different things that you can do. I mean, you're probably being creative right now and thinking them in your head, right? Okay, so Legos, obviously role play, blocks, story writing, music, letting your kids play outside. Like seriously, who has done that recently? Exploring nature, finding things in nature to be creative with. You also, play with them, model for them. What does creativity actually look like? And this is why a lot of us like the idea of Montessori. If you haven't heard of Montessori, basically it's by having everything readily available for them so they can pull things off the shelf and play with them however they want to, whenever they want to, and explore. It's this idea of exploration, and you want to encourage them as they start to become more and more creative. Allow them to become creative and foster that creativity, and make your home a place and your backyard a place where they can find new things to add to their creativity. Another thing, this is kind of part of creativity, but allowing your kids to be bored is amazing. When they're bored, that means they're lacking creativity and they're going to have to dig pretty hard to get it out. So allowing them to be bored makes them dig for something to do. And so it's a good thing. The second one I want to talk about is problem solving. Somebody cannot function in life, honestly, if they don't have good problem solving skills. It's not only with math, because that's where we hear problem solving the most, but it's with mysteries, real world problems, issues that we have, a lot of open-ended questions that you can ask them. Open-ended questions are amazing, and you can actually do this with any age out there. So some examples of open-ended questions: your shirt got wet. What do we do now? Where would you like to eat? What are you craving? Where would you actually like to go on vacation? That's something you can actually pull the map out and start looking at different photos and stuff, and allow them actually to help you brainstorm ideas on where they can go on vacation. But you can even do this with, we don't have anything to learn. What would you like to learn about? What do we do when we don't have this? What do we do when I'm tired? What do you do? Or if they come to you complaining about something, instead of immediately fixing the problem for them, give them some open-ended questions so they can start to think through on how they can solve the problem without you actually feeding it to them. One problem, let's say sister and brother are fighting, right? They're fighting over, the Switch or something like that. You can say your brother and sister are both fighting over the Switch. Who should have it and why should they have it? Now that would be more like a complex, open-ended question. But what I'm saying is ask lots of questions during the day to your kids that aren't yes and no. Number 3 is critical thinking. So the definition of critical thinking is actually being able to think independently, responsibly, and even productively. What you can do as a parent, but once again, going back to the questions, is you can ask them things like, why is fill in the blank important? Why does fill in the blank matter? How do we know fill in the blank? I feel like I'm doing a science experiment, because science experiment is full of critical thinking questions whenever you do those labs. But you don't have to just apply it to science. You can literally apply it to your everyday life. Why is it important that we go to the store? Why is it important that we go to bed on time at night and not stay up till 2 a.m.? What is the evidence that is used to support this claim, basically? Number 4 is learning how to find information quickly. Sometimes our kids know how to use the internet and GPT chat and AI better than we do, and that's okay. but are they using it properly? And so I really think teaching them how to use those things quickly and properly is not only going to boost their confidence, but also give them the tools so they can do it independently. Yes, I do think it's important for them to know what a dictionary is. It's important to even be like, there's a dictionary, this is what it is, this is the function, okay, great. I am kind of old school paper. I like the idea of, you can pick up a book and you can kind of quickly skim through it, flip through the pages. You can find things faster in a book than if you're looking at an ebook online or a web page. Number 5 is curiosity, and this one actually comes really natural to our kids, to our preteens, to our teens. So this is actually very easy to foster, very easy to encourage, very easy to just let them do it naturally without too much work on your end. Of course, you want to model positive curiosity. You do need to set boundaries and you do need to set rules, but within those perimeters, you have to model it, you have to foster it, you have to encourage it, and you can't shut it out unless it's something that could actually harm them. You don't want them to be curious about jumping in a lake when they don't know how to swim, right? And don't even get me started on the things that preteens and teens are curious about. You do have to lay boundaries. And you know what? Talk about those things. Actually have a relationship with them where you can actually talk to them about those things that they're curious about. Foster that creativity, model that creativity. Very easy one to do, but you do have to set boundaries with that one so they can be safe exploring. And number 6 is reflection. And a lot of us don't really think about this, but reflection happens after everything is over, where there's a discussion about it, where the kids start to own their own learning by reflecting on it and thinking about how it has impacted them. It encourages them, it motivates them to be more curious, to want to learn more, those kind of things. Ask questions like, how has it benefited me? How has it benefited others? This is more of like the how type questions, or why would I do this again? Or why did I do this in the first place? It's this reflection and thinking upon the past. So I do really hope all of you are encouraged to be lifelong learners. Of course, hands-on activities, getting out, great way to do it. Reading books, asking questions, having discussions, building relationships, giving them a safe place to explore and do all of these things is probably one of the most important ways to foster their creativity and help them become lifelong learners. So let me know in the comments if you have any other ideas to add to this, and I will have a video out in 2 days. You should check it out. But if not, I have some videos up here you can check out. And I, once again, hope you guys are having a wonderful year. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.